Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Sever7, and today we are checking out the Tenable Fermi, and that's with the ultimate goal of seeing if it's worth adding to your collection or daily carry. Now, I bought this knife, so I want to thank me for sponsoring this video, and this knife will be staying with me after the review because it's mine. Now, Tenable is a subsidiary brand of Concept. So just like you have We Civivi, you have Concept and Tenable. One focuses on premium and one focuses on budget. Now, the Fermi here was designed by Birch Tree Blades. Highly recommend checking out their Instagram. I'll have that linked below. They've got some really cool stuff. And first impressions of this knife are really good. I like how it's minimalistic but aggressive. I really enjoy the blade shape. We've got G10 handles, but it's like milled. So we've got this nice checker pattern. And to be honest, while it is definitely G10, it doesn't feel like G10. It feels like micarta. It also adds a lot of grip without you really feeling it, right? Like there's some things that are like, milled more drastically or deeper, and it's like, yeah, you get the grip, but you also got to feel it digging into you. You can't feel anything on this. Like I can feel the texture and it feels nice, but like, if I'm squeezing onto this and, for whatever reason, I'm struggling to hold on, the texture is not going to have any impact on me as far as like hurting or being uncomfortable, right? We have T8 hardware for everything except the pocket clip screws, which is okay. Just double checking. Which is weird because even Concept doesn't do T8s for everything. Concept will do a T8 for their pivot screws, but T6 everywhere else, unless they recently changed that. But the last Concept I looked at was T8, T6 is everywhere. This much cheaper, what should be a lower tier knife, is T8s for everything but the pocket clip. So, I'm going to say it's a win. Hopefully it's something Concept carries over to their, to their premium stuff. Because we're all kind of tired of seeing T6s. The amount of T6s that I've stripped. Don't get me wrong, it's not the T6's fault entirely, right? That's user error on my part, but still, T8s are just so much better, and I can't imagine the cost is that absurd, right? To make that jump from T6 to T8. We have a non-reversible deep carry stamped pocket clip. We've got good retention. It slides in and out of the pocket pretty easy. We've got two standoffs back here and not a tremendous amount of extras, right? It's a relatively basic knife, without any frills or anything too crazy, except the Mill G10 is nice, but also, we'll talk more about it later, but this gray coating, it's on all the hardware, it's on the blade. I love it. So refreshing, so much better than, all black. It's refreshing to see something that's not satin, right? Now, as far as the blade shape goes, they call it a clip point, a recurved clip point, which is fair. You could also throw harpoon in there. Technically, there's a secondary tip, so you could also throw Tonto in there if you want. But I think recurved clip point is perfectly fine. Now, I don't even know really what to classify the blade grind as, because we go from thick to thin, right? And it's not drastic, right? So, maybe a flat grind. But we get thicker not only as we move up, but as we move forward, right? So you can see, well, maybe you can see, the light might be hiding it, but basically as soon as you get to this tip, moving forward, you get a whole lot thicker and a whole lot more robust towards this tip. Normally though, what I'm used to seeing is, a flat or a hollow grind that's uniform all the way up to the second tip, and then robustness, where this is much, much more gradual. Now, the cool thing about recurves is they pull you into the cut, and, with recurves, you tend to sacrifice some belly, but that belly has been given to you right here, which is super nice because it makes it easy. If you need to cut rope or something like that, you can just put the blade down, you can rock it if you need to, you can just push into it if you need to. It's not hard to get this belly down. Now, if you need to use the tip, you can still do that because the tip is right on point with the pivot screw. So I would demonstrate getting, well, here, I can still do it. I just have to wrap around the thing holding my phone up. So you can still do that. You can still get the tip down. You get a good little index with that harpoon. Yeah, it's not bad at all. As far as the ergonomics go, it feels comfortable in hand. It's a smaller knife, so like I believe I wear large size gloves, so I can still get a 4-finger grip on it, and I can choke up a little bit if I need to. Pinch grip is fine because you've got this flat surface to hold on to, but you can also get up here a little bit with the pinch grip, not with, you don't want to use that, like that's not a finger choil, but with the pinch grip, if you need to pinch up a little bit further, you can do that too, right? So overall, the ergonomics are comfortable. I feel secure. I feel locked in with this handle. Part of that's because obviously we're locked in here, but we have a little bit of a scoop that kind of adds to that locked in feel. So I like that. It's weighty. This thing has a substantial feel, albeit not a substantially large knife. And I like that. It makes it feel like you've got a real tool in your hand. As far as the balance goes, looks like we're a little butt heavy. I can't seem. Man, it's like the hot water in a trailer, right? You're taking a shower, and if you barely touch it, you're scalding or you're freezing. There we go. Yeah, so it looks like our balance is going to be back here a little bit, which isn't too bad. That's fine. So it'll feel a little butt heavy, but, it's not anything too drastic. It's still on that finger groove, about where you're going to be. So no worries there. We don't have any jimping, which is kind of a bummer because this feels like it could be a really hard use knife, and the harpoon isn't deep enough to, keep you, like to keep your thumb in place. Yeah, you're not going to slip up here, but it's still nice just to have that jimping. So whenever you put your thumb, whenever you kind of dig into whatever you're doing, it's nice to have some jimping to kind of lock you in, as opposed to this where, your thumb will slip around and maybe you won't feel like you have as much control as you want. So going back to the finish, they call it a gray TICN coated. So I am used to TI meaning titanium, but I don't think they coated the blade with titanium. So I'm going to assume, and feel free to correct me in the comments, that it's some sort of equivalent to like PVD or something kind of in that area. But either way, regardless of what it is, it looks awesome. Huge fan. Maybe I'm just partial to gray, but the fact that they've got this light gray on the G10 and then this darker gray on the hardware and the blade. It just very classy touch. I hope we see more of this finish on knives, and I hope we see more of this gray on knives, because maybe for me it's just the flavor of the month, but I love this design language. We have 14C28N, very well-rounded blade steel. It is probably the best budget steel that you can get. And it's the best. And what makes it so good is how well rounded it is, right? When you're looking at budget knives, you're probably not looking for a specialty tool that does one thing very well. Like it holds an edge forever but sucks at everything else. Or it's got excellent corrosion resistance but sucks at everything else. 14C28N is very balanced and is probably the best, most optimized steel for most people. Now, Tenable / Concept didn't have an HRC listed for this knife, so it's kind of up in the air. I've never had a problem with Concept's 14C28N, so I don't expect that this would have a problem either. Now, as far as the action goes, it's interesting because the detent is medium strength, right? It's not a harsh detent or super light or anything like that, but the weight of the blade makes it feel substantial in a good way. So it's like, yeah, you don't have to overcome a stiff detent, but you do have to launch the heft of the blade, and it just makes it more satisfying. And with it being a thick blade, you're getting a lot of acoustics out of this knife too. You're getting a thwack, right? And on the drop, it is a shake shut. A nice click there. That's the other thing that I think makes this knife feel premium is even though the blade is weighty, it's not a guillotine. Right? It does have a much more premium feeling to its action than what the price tag would suggest. Even the slow roll, listen to this. Very satisfying slow roll. Yeah, I love the action, I love the acoustics, and I love the close. I mean, all indicative of a more premium knife than what this is. I mean, the action on this is better than some Concepts, right? And, I mean, it's the same factory, they're doing the same stuff. So it just goes to show how far Concept has come with their action, on a budget knife. And I imagine that action is probably present in their newer Concept models, right? I haven't handled a newer Concept, save for that one, the Link, I think. But even that one, came out, like a year ago, something like that. So I wouldn't consider that a newer model, although it did have great action. Now the lock bar access, because they knocked this back and they gave us a nice little scoop. The lock bar access is great. It's easy, not hard. You can do it all day. I would dare say it's even a little satisfying. Not really sure why, but there is some enjoyment to be had out of disengaging a knife. So I've been flicking it so much that I actually took it off center. If you don't know if your knife is off center, 9 times out of 10, if you just adjust the pivot screw, you can see it kind of go straight back to true. Yep, action's the same, so we're good. Is it lefty friendly? So the pocket clip isn't reversible, but since this is a liner lock and not a frame lock, it doesn't matter how much pressure you apply to either side of the knife, you can still deploy it fine, right? Whereas if you had a frame lock, if you applied too much pressure to the frame lock side of the knife, it's not going to deploy, or it'll be really hard. But with this one, you don't have to worry about that at all. I'm not good at lefty things, and the fact that I can sit here and fidget this, I mean, that just goes to show that if you are actually a lefty, then you will have literally zero trouble, save for the pocket clip not being reversible, which is kind of a bummer. Overall length, we're looking at 7.33 inches, a blade length of 3.11 inches. That's giving us a blade to handle ratio of about 0.74. So remember, 0.8 is the magic number. where it makes the knife look like it's cut down the middle with 50% blade, 50% handle, right? Even though it's not, it gives that illusion, right, at 0.8 or 80% blade to handle. So we're not quite there with this. I mean, you can look at this and it looks good, but there's no mistaking the handle is definitely longer than the blade, right? I mean, you could just see that. There's no illusion. And a little bit more blade would have given that to us. But, I mean, 7.4, we're pretty close to being there, so it's really not all that bad. You know, I still certainly think it's a handsome knife, despite, you know, us not being at that 50-50. And maybe I'm just picky, right? I'm probably just being a brat. Size comparisons, we'll put it up against the CJRB cane. So dwarfs the cane. We're going to put it up against the Migaron Akri. Review coming on this guy soon. Very excited. As you can see, there might be some similarities that I enjoy. Let's get it up a little bit closer. So about close to the same length, but the Fermi has it beat ever so slightly. And then let's do the CJRB Acacia. And the Acacia has it beat by a little bit. It looks more drastic in the camera because the Acacia is down here, but in real life it's not by a whole lot, maybe a 1/4 of an inch difference. Now, would I carry this knife? What's the price on it? Well, the price is $49.89 before discounts. That's full price, straight from the Concept website. So if you have a 10% code, I'll get one soon. But if you have a 10% code for the website, or if you go to, say, White Mountain Knives, I think Chicago Knife Works has a 25% off running right now. If they do, I'll link that down below. I'll link whatever has the best price down below in the description. I don't have affiliate links, so I don't gain anything from you using them, but I will shop and find the best price that I can for you. I love this knife. I like the style. I like the way it feels. I like the acoustics. It's not doing anything super fancy, but it's doing all of the basics very, 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 very well, right? G10, executed perfectly. You know, the attention to detail in the blade with the different dimensions and the coating, perfect. The action, fantastic. Acoustics, fantastic. Lock bar access, fantastic. I love this knife. Buy it. Even at $50, even at the full $49.89, you will not be disappointed by this knife. And I typically don't go hard like that, but I mean, you can't be offended by this knife. Like, I can't think of a single, unless you have massive hands. You know, like if you're holding on to it and you're creeping up, you know, like if this is where you have to hold it, okay, I get it, right? That's fair. But for anybody else, if your hands are about my size, maybe a little bit smaller, yeah, this knife is, it's worth it all day. Now, my question to you is, and leave your answer down in the comments below, based on what you've seen, would you carry this knife? Does it have a spot in your daily rotation? Does it have a spot in your collection? If it does, like I said, the link will be down below. And if you want more reviews like this, leave a like. Please subscribe. And then I'm going to have a link to my Instagram as well as Birch Tree Blades and Tenable and Concept all down below. I'd recommend giving a follow, definitely to me, but also I'd recommend the other three as well, just so you can see more cool knives, get exposed to more cool things. Concept and Tenable are doing great things. Birch Tree Blade obviously has some dope killer designs, so definitely worth the follow. I know this video has been a little bit longer. If you stuck out to about the 20-minute mark, God bless you. Thank you so much. The support means an incredible amount to me, and we have a big giveaway coming up at 500 subs, so I expect we'll get there pretty darn quick. So, you know, I'll update you guys as we get closer to that, but otherwise, appreciate you. Thank you. Nothing but love, and until next time.